Welcome to LVB Presents. I'm Steph Thompson, founder of the London Voice Boutique, and we're a voiceover agency based in Soho, London. And we're going to take you on a little journey behind the scenes with some of our actors so that you can get a taste of what goes on in this world. Think funny stories, advice, and some useful insight on how to navigate this industry. Today, I'm happy to welcome Sophie, Corbett and Nathalie Armin, queens of voiceovers and actresses alike. Sophie, Nathalie, how are you both doing?
Good. Yeah, good, thank you.
Just talking to you about your hangover from last time I saw you.
No hangover.
Nothing today.
I mean, you know, it only takes me like 2 drinks.
These days.
Well, always.
Oh, really?
I've always sort of, soldiered on, but no more than 2 drinks. That's what it takes for me to be drunk and hungover.
Oh, so last time I saw you, you'd just been at the Palace for a party.
Yeah, it was the ATG summer party, and it was
a pretty big one.
It was a big one, and it was lots of fun, but very, very, very. I mean,
come on, tell us some stories.
Well, there aren't any stories
None.
except that it was wall to wall really famous people.
Or were you just wandering around trying to stroke their shoulders?
No, actually, as a company.
That's what I do. Oh, did I just touch?
As a it was very funny as a company because the cast of A Little Life,
Yeah.
the play that I've just been doing, we all just huddled together. And
Oh,
spent
did you?
the
You
evening
stayed
together.
together?
Yeah, we did. That's how we coped.
Oh,
Yeah,
So-
it can be daunting.
Yeah, it really can.
kind of. I've not been to those.
But it was one of those events, as these events can be, is that somehow, like sort of magic, your glass was never empty.
Dangerous.
I don't know where they appeared from, but they were like sort of magicians.
I like that.
You'd be mid-sentence and an empty glass would be a full glass.
I like that kind of
Me
party.
too. That's my
Yeah.
kind of party.
The alcohol
Fizzy.
fairies.
Fizzy drinks.
Yeah.
Fizzy pop. So tell me what you've both been up to. I know you've been up in A Little Life recently.
Yeah, I just finished that.
That's
It was
big.
a long run.
I was going to
actually.
say that was,
Yeah.
and that was big. I came to see you back at the beginning. I think it was like March.
It was at the Harold
Was it
Pinter
March?
Theatre. Was
Yeah.
it March
It
or
was
April?
quite
I can't
early
remember.
on. Yeah.
And then it transferred to the Savoy.
And you had, that was quite traumatic, and a lot of people who went to see you, I mean, when I was there, people crying around me, and I know you didn't get to see it, Sophie, but
No.
it was harrowing to
It's
watch.
in cinema, isn't it?
It's released in the cinema. I guess.
It'd be
What
quite
would
interesting
be-
to see how
yeah.
it comes across in the cinema, but
Yeah, they filmed it really well. I only saw the trailer, but it's not filmed like the standard filming of plays, which is very much like an audience member viewpoint. It's filmed like a film,
Oh,
so you
okay.
have
Oh, that's
multi-camera, and they zoom, and it's filmed very much like a
Like a film.
Yeah.
So do I need to take lots of tissues?
yes,
'Cause
I
cry
honestly,
a
I had
lot
the woman
very
next to me
easily.
was sobbing, went to the toilets in the break. They were women just crying. I had people say that when they went to see it, people were fainting, or it's quite
Oh, crikey.
triggering for some
Okay.
people.
I will.
You
watch
said
it.
there were
It really
quite a
is,
lot of
and
incidents.
we had incidents pretty much every show. For the most part, I think the ushers and the staff at the theatre were able to sort of handle them without too much disruption. But we had a show stop pretty much every other show.
Wow.
Yeah, because
Really?
People, pretty much.
From people
on our
just-
very last performance, we had 4 show stops. Yeah.
Because people were just fainting.
They're fainting, they're throwing up.
Oh my
they're,
God.
Crikey.
We only had a couple of really serious ones where they had to be sort of stretchered out.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, maybe I'll
goodness.
give it a minute.
I have to say,
I'm
I
joking.
didn't. I'm either really hardcore or I don't know. I kind of switched. I could take a step
Wow, that's a
back and
lot.
just watch it for what it was. But I mean, it is a lot.
I don't know if it was the play. I mean, certainly it can't have been the play
I
for the
think it
people that were
triggers-
seriously ill.
No, it was something.
Yeah,
it
it was
triggered
something,
them
yeah.
big. It just shows you how many
Yeah.
people.
But most people, interestingly, often men, fainted.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was brilliantly performed though, and it is intense. I mean, I'm not going to. I did find it a lot to watch, and it's not something I could go back and watch easily again.
Well, right up
But-
until the last minute. So it's harrowing event after harrowing event, and it doesn't let up right up until the very end of the play. Bad things just keep on
Yes.
happening. And I think for a lot of people, it's incredibly cathartic. It meant so much to people. Whereas I don't know if, being part of it performing it, I couldn't be prouder to have that kind of impact on an audience.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure I would ever respond to it in the way that most people did.
No.
I think I would probably put things in place like you did to sort of go, I won't be affected by this.
Do you know what though? Because you were in it and I know you.
Yeah.
I think it helped me to just be like, well, there's Natalie.
Yeah.
Well, it's Natalie.
A bit of realness.
I think so. I'm not going in, not knowing these people, not knowing. But the performance was amazing. But I did kind of keep going, Natalie's there, So you're Natalie to me rather than the character. I think
the book has such a gigantic following and fan base.
I've got to read the book.
Yeah.
It's like 730 pages. It's massive and it's...
I was going to say... I was going to make
I like reading now. I'm dyslexic, but I like reading now.
How does that affect you when you're reading a novel then? Can you sit there and work through
I've
it?
improved a bit. Yeah, and it's because it's not... No one's watching me.
Yeah.
I relax a bit more.
Yeah.
So I'm fine. I read all the time now.
Yeah.
I do one book to another.
That's really interesting because actually I never really thought about that. But obviously I know you're dyslexic and I know when it comes to voiceovers I have to be careful with the scripts to get them up front for you. Yeah. And it's, you've always said to me, commercial work easy. I think animation's good, but it's the corporate stuff, isn't it? It's
reams and pages can't do it. Never going to be able to do it.
Yeah. And narratives are probably a bit tricky as well when it's like, open on it. You're like, oh crikey.
Yeah, my palms start sweating and I go, can someone else do this?
Do you know though, there are so many actors on my books that are dyslexic. It's just, and there's no problem with that for me. It's more that it's only a problem when actors don't tell me. And sometimes actors don't tell me thinking that I won't represent them because they're dyslexic and therefore
Well, you do feel that. I mean, I felt that at the beginning. I mean, I was asked to be a voiceover artist because people heard my voice.
Yeah.
They didn't know I was dyslexic. And then but I remember thinking, how's this going to work?
Yeah.
But actually... I was frightened because you do feel that you are less because you are dyslexic. I don't now, but when you're young, you do. You think I'm not as good as somebody else at doing that.
Yeah.
But then just bit by bit, a voiceover isn't just about the reading. It's
have
about
you
how
ever had a problem? Have you ever had people sort of have an issue with it? Because I've not.
Yeah, once I was put in the wrong job.
Oh really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I sent them a bunch of flowers afterwards.
Oh, really?
It was just so painful, and then they sent me a bunch of flowers back because they could see. Yeah, shouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
It was an error in the booking.
Yeah.
But that was only once.
Yeah, and that's not bad. How long have you been doing voiceovers?
26 years.
Yeah, so it's not.
So it's not bad, is it?
It's not bad.
And now I'm brave enough to say, can you just give me 5?
Yeah.
If I haven't had a chance to look at it, so it's fine.
Yeah.
But it did take a lot of guts. I knew every toilet stop from Tooting to Soho when I first began, and I'd maybe stopped 7 times because I was just so terrified. Yeah.
Oh, that's such a shame.
I've conquered it now though, and it's fine, and people don't judge me.
No.
And I can do it. So, but it does. All these things take guts to say. Oh, by the way, I'm different from.
But I think it's my job. I sort of tend to tell people, the clients heads up. Then if get you chosen as a voice.
Yeah.
If I know that what the project is, I'm not going to put you up for the wrong project. But and I have lots of artists who are dyslexic, and as long as I know, and then I can just say, can we get a script the night before? Because I know sometimes these scripts aren't quite. But if you say they're dyslexic, then they'll go, well, here's the work in progress. It shouldn't be too different.
That's absolutely fine. And
fine.
Also, the more people get to know you, they know you.
Yeah.
So they know what I do. So you're kind of over that now.
Yeah.
But at the beginning, it just shows you, if anyone had said to me at school, you're going to read for a living, I'd have laughed or cried. And
exactly.
It just shows you, don't be frightened of anything because it's all possible.
Yeah. I mean, I think the worst is when an actor doesn't tell their agent that they are dyslexic.
That's
and
silly.
I had that once with an actor who didn't tell me. I had no idea, and I sent him into a big corporate job with a really important client, and a very unhappy producer phoned me up like 2 hours later going, what just happened? I don't know what just happened. And I was like, well, what's happened?
No.
And
that's the thing with dyslexia, you cannot pull it out of the bag.
And absolutely broke down, couldn't read it, was hungover as well, which I was like, okay, a double whammy. hence to say that person isn't with me anymore. But it causes a real problem. It took a lot to rebuild that trust and relationship for me with that client, to say, I'm so sorry, I had no idea.
No.
I phoned him up and was like, what happened? He was like, well, I'm dyslexic. And I was like, why did you not tell me? This is really vital information. So it is workable. It is important to know, not
because
to
it's
put you up
selling
for
the product,
audiobooks,
isn't
not
it?
to put you up for narrative. Exactly.
It's knowing your boundary, or being able to say, this is what I mean. I have done big scripts before, and they've been completely understanding because they've wanted me to do it. Do you know what I mean? So I go, can I just do it paragraph at paragraph, and then if they understand, then I'm, it's fine. But it's about being honest.
Yeah. So
There's a great lesson in there as well, just asking for a moment when you need one.
I
think to all of us, actually.
Yeah,
it's true, isn't it? We all kind of want to
and
please, don't we? But it's okay to go, this is me.
Yeah. And I think, as a producer, when I used to work with you a lot on L'Oreal, I think, if somebody says to me, can I just take a moment to reread the script? I can't see any reason why that would be a problem unless they keep doing it and I'm really up against the time and I've got 10 clients sitting there. I can see that's quite difficult. But generally, people are quite understanding and go, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Especially if we're changing the script in the session or anything like that, it's always good to sort of say,
and you're not a robot, are you? Humans aren't robots. So sometimes they might need to read it a couple of times to bring what they need to bring to it.
Yeah.
And sometimes, dare I say, they're quite weirdly written.
Oh.
You may dare to say.
Well, it might not have been thought through quite according to what... Yeah, some of them.
Just like,
dare
really?
I dare?
Are we not going to have any punctuation?
That will be because the client...
Can I breathe?
That'll be a client going, right, I need all of that information being put in there. They don't need to breathe. That's the skill. That's why we're paying you the big bucks.
And I'm not good at that, actually. I can't sort of speculate as to where to breathe.
No, where do I breathe?
Well, that's when you start a session and go, so talk me through where the commas should be.
Yeah.
And then they'll go, oh, right. I figured that one out.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, listen, and Sophie, what have you been up to recently? I know you've got a podcast that you...
Yeah, I've been interviewing people on podcast, in conversation with for Rockwater. I've had some amazing guests. Tony Bellew, Eddie Hearn, Frank Smith, Davina McCall, Rob Brydon.
So you are the queen of this, you know what you're doing?
No, I'm learning. I'm learning. I just love people.
Yeah.
I'm really passionate too about mental health.
Yes.
So I do a lot of work around the menopause, which we've been speaking about.
Yes.
And men's mental health.
Yeah.
And I do a thing called So Talk, which I call it AA without the addiction, but it's just a place for people to talk. So I do it every week. I've done it for 3 years. And I work in design. So I design furniture and stuff as well.
So
you've got to have your finger in many pies.
Yeah.
And I like my pies. So
I like pies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great. I mean, I'm still learning a lot about this as I'm doing this, but, give me any pointers as we go along, so if I need any.
No, you're doing well. Isn't she?
Brilliant.
Well, so far.
So far, so good.
Just don't swear.
Thanks, Nathalie. I'm doing my best here. So moving on. You guys are both very much the voices of luxury brands, I find. I find you often get cast for that.
Yeah.
I think
because we've got slightly chocolatey tones.
You do. Have you noticed a change over the few years? Because actually you're still very much doing those products, but you also, I know, Sophie, you do fibrogel as well. Do you find that there's like a real range now of what you do? But
yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, but it's just through, chocolate's natural, but I think when you've done it for as long as I've done it, I know what the product, I can lift my tone, or I can be sharper and not so kind of smooth and elongated, so
have you noticed the way the deliveries have changed, because it did used to be all very much like the chocolate voice, but now I feel like it's much more natural and
it's not voice more... whereas they used to want you to be a voiceover
caramel.
Cadbury's,
I feel like it's changed slightly from that.
They want more real, whereas we used to be voice, there was like you were a voiceover, and now it is more chatty and up and down and more natural.
I guess so.
I've noticed that in the briefs.
Yeah.
I just wondered if that was it, because you guys have been doing some of these brands for quite a long time, whether they've sort of changed the delivery in those briefs when you're going in.
I mean, I think some luxury still want luxury.
Yeah, they do. I mean, the one that I've been doing for a number of years now, they haven't asked to change the delivery.
Right, it's still quite
still
smooth.
the same, yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know about you, but...
No, well, yeah, I think when they keep booking you, it's because they want you and they want you to sound familiar.
Yeah.
So the fibre gel is always me sounding my fibre gel, which
Yeah.
is more upbeat and let's get that constipation gone. but
But when you're doing luxury stuff, because you're doing the L'Oreal work, then that's more sort of still the L'Oreal
that's
stuff.
still Well, I love the L'Oreal one because it's always, we need to quicken that by 15 seconds, but can you sound slower?
Yeah, that's always the best bit of direction, isn't it? Faster and slower.
And that was the guilty when I used to direct. That was especially L'Oreal, where you have so much to say, and then you're like,
so the secret is, guys, if
what
anyone
is
wants to
the
know,
secret?
go quieter.
Oh, is that what they mean when they say
That's
faster?
what you can do it that way. So if they go and you're thinking, what? There's no breaths.
Yeah.
And I go quieter, and then I can say more, quickly.
Oh no, that's really useful.
Wow, that's really helpful.
Yeah. I just thought you were amazing, Sophie. You always nailed it. So
Because I went quiet.
and I had no idea.
And I didn't breathe.
Did you work that out on the job, or did somebody else tell you?
No, I worked that out.
Oh, amazing.
Because I was like, how am I going to do this? Projection takes longer, I suppose.
Yeah, it does.
And do you find yourself holding your breath for an entire, when you get these scripts and there's so much information?
No, a couple of times I've gone lightheaded, especially when the engineer goes, right, we'll go again. And you're like, oh my, sometimes I've had to say, I need to take a breath.
Good.
I go,
Yeah.
Because you can forget to breathe sometimes a little bit.
Yeah, because I've seen, having worked on them, I've seen some of these scripts where it's like ramming it all in with no commas, and you're trying to sort of
not breathe.
Think, how the hell am I going to say this? Because as a producer, I'm not sitting there caring too much about.
But
how
again, it's telling the engineer, isn't
it?
It's telling the engineer.
Yeah.
Because he's doing his thing, and again, if you go, oh gosh, I need a breath, they'll go, you'll get a breath.
Most engineers, I was having a conversation actually with somebody else in another podcast saying, the friend to make in the booth is the engineer, so that they've got your back if you need a bit of a moment. They can just pretend they're knob twiddling for a minute, and you give them eye contact going, give me a minute.
Yeah.
So that they can just give you that time without it looking like it's your fault. It's like, I'm just mixing here a minute. And you're like, cute. So that's always a handy hint. Anyway, moving on to my little questions that I have for you. Well, my first one was going to be, how do you prepare for a voiceover session, or do you have any rituals? Do either of you have any?
Yeah. When I have a bathroom, I tend to jump in the shower and do a voice warm.
Oh, because you haven't got a bathroom at the moment.
Yeah, I don't have a bathroom.
Oh my
Because you're having
you're
work
putting
done.
me to shame.
Yeah.
Why? What sort of thing? You'll go in a hot shower and prep your
With
voice?
the steam, I will sort of hum and
really?
do things like that. Yeah, because I can sound pretty bad first thing in the morning.
Oh, if it's morning.
Yeah.
I talk to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Annoy everyone on my journey.
And
Yeah, to
also
get
it's
yourself
more
going.
it's more not even like the quality of the sound, it's more like getting your chops around words.
Yeah, you're
isn't it?
right.
You just need to
Loosen up.
That's good to know.
No,
and also I can sound very nasal as well first thing in the morning, so humming really helps with that. So yes, when I have a bathroom, that's what I do.
What are you doing in the meantime? Just putting your head over a kettle?
Over a sink, kitchen sink.
Have you not got your bathroom? Are you having it done?
I'm having it refitted.
Wow, okay.
It's a complete nightmare.
Oh, bless
But yeah, so that's what I do. What do you do?
you. Have a coffee.
With milk?
Although somebody said,
Even with milk, you don't find it affects your voice?
I know people have said to me, dairy, I don't eat a chocolate bar anymore, no. But no, you're right, I do. If it's early in the morning, I will most probably sing along to the radio. I kind of sing.
And just get your voice warmed up.
Get your brain awake.
I've always thought that voiceovers really sessions shouldn't stop before 10 a.m. I've always tried to encourage. I know that sometimes that can't be helped, but if I can encourage voice sessions to start after 10, I just think it gives people's.
I love you, really. That's
I just
good.
think I think because I've been a producer, it really helps to know both sides. But I just think it gives a voice a chance to wake up and
it's like singers when they have to perform on the breakfast telly or something. I feel for them.
Yes.
Because I'm like, whoa. You're right. You have to get your brain awake and your mouth awake.
Yeah.
And often as actors, you are often doing a play
Yeah.
You know, you'll get a voiceover during the run of a play, and you spent the previous evening just, you know,
Well, do you know what? And that's
bellowing and shouting and speaking and stuff.
Yeah.
And you wake up in the morning with nothing.
Yes.
You sort of wake up going, that's it, it's gone.
I have to say, I'm very careful when people are in plays and try and avoid video games.
Yeah.
Because video games tend to be a lot of shouting
Yeah,
and
yeah.
projecting. And I've had that before where someone had to be a king rat for a day and was literally yelling all day and then lost his voice and actually had a really good, juicy job the next day that was like worth about 15 grand. He literally couldn't speak.
Oh,
and he somehow managed to do it, but he was like, right, I'm in a play. I've just shouted most of the day. I nearly lost the big gig. So actually, I'm really careful. You and I've had those conversations, especially in the play you were just doing, where you were shouting a lot. I was like, you know, it depends on the role that you have, but when you've got to shout a lot, we have to really be careful of what you take on, or you know, if you've got an important.
If I've been shouting at someone I've been interviewing on podcasts.
Yes, exactly. But if you have got a performance, it matters. It's like, you know, what roles do I put you up for?
Yeah.
I'm okay.
How are you with books? Do you like doing them?
What?
Audiobooks.
Audiobooks.
No.
Yeah.
Never.
I'm terrible
Wouldn't
as well.
do it.
I can't do it.
Oh, okay. So you both just talked yourselves out of an audiobook job.
Well, that's
Great.
lucky, honestly, because I do
Is that
about
staying
a
in?
milestone.
Don't put Nathalie Armin up for
No,
audiobooks.
you can have my books. I don't want my books.
Good to
I
know.
did one. I mean, speaking of punctuation, that was translated, wasn't it, from Arabic?
Yes.
And there was no punctuation in it.
Oh my lord.
Well, we're still in the running for those ones, so just let me know. Note to people listening. It's fine. There'll be no one listening.
Something tells me that's going to end up on that.
Nope, that's staying in. Okay, so that leads me into what's your most unusual direction you've ever been asked to perform in a voiceover booth? I'm sure you've both had some. You've both been in there a number of times.
I mean, apart from the faster, slower
Yeah.
at the same time thing, there was one very funny comment, and I can't remember which job it was for, but it was, like, basically, it's not sex voice, it's accountant. That's what they told me.
A little less sexy. I remember that.
Yeah, do you remember?
It was a corporate job, and the creative I knew the creative when he phoned me out and went, okay, we're going to have to get her back in. She sounded far too sexy, and this is an accountant's job. I was like, oh, okay, Nathalie.
Accountant, not sex voice.
Yeah.
Bring the accountant in.
So that was quite.
What about you?
I think it wasn't part of the job, but they asked if I could sound like a seal. So I actually had to go.
Really?
Yeah.
But it wasn't part of the job?
No, and I can't remember why they asked me to do it.
Was it for a commercial?
It was for I don't know if it's for them, but they just said random. You can't sound like a seal, can you? And I was like.
Let me just get myself into that.
And actually, I did pull it out the bag.
Brilliant! Wow, I love it. So you're just a talking seal.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. No, I just feel ridiculous because when I started, I didn't know what was going to come out. You know what I mean? But that was the weirdest thing, I think.
I think that, you see, you guys go in, and obviously I send you in, like, not knowing what the scripts are, often don't know what they are, don't know what your direction's going to be. And when you come out and you tell me these things, I should have been writing these all down over the years of, like, the weirdest things I could write.
The worst one was a
Great
dodgy
book.
one too. I had a dodgy audition.
Oh.
And I was sent somewhere and I was thinking,
Not with me.
this is feeling weird. No, not with you.
Okay.
This was feeling weird. And then I got to this kind of warehouse. It was awful.
For a voiceover?
No, babe.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
And I was put in this, I had taken into this room with a bed over there. And then this script, which was like fantasy.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and I had the cans, and I was thinking, oh my God, please someone not come and lay on the bed. It was awful. And as I walked past the booth, it looked just, looked like a Yorkie advert or something. It just wasn't right with all the guys and the cats and the beards. And as I left, they said, thank you very much, we'll let you know.
And did you
And I went, I'll let you know.
Yeah. Good
And
for
I rang
you.
my agent at the time, they had no idea.
Really?
Yeah, that was not very
That's not
pleasant.
great. No.
It's like, yeah.
That's terrifying.
I know.
I know.
I should have just walked in and walked straight out.
Yeah, but you
But
don't
I was
know,
younger
do you?
and I
yeah.
didn't.
It's terrifying.
Yeah, terrifying.
Okay, so changing it slightly. So who would you most like to share a booth with? Is there anyone that you think, oh, I'd really like to get that session in a nice, clean way?
For a voiceover? I mean,
yes, darling. don't know where you're going.
Mine would be with singers. I'd love to,
Yeah.
like Kurt Cobain. I'd love to be in a
really?
bit with him, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
doing a
With his
voiceover.
amazing voice,
Yeah.
singing voice.
That would have been a good animation, I think.
Yeah,
Bowie.
that.
Okay,
too.
I don't know now. Yeah.
Who's
We
got?
come back to that.
Yeah,
somebody said the other day Morgan Freeman, and I thought, yes.
that's
Yeah.
lovely.
Yes. I
Kenneth
could
Branagh's got a lovely voice.
Yes.
Yes,
Really
he
lovely
does.
voice.
My mum was in a
That'd be
lift with
nice.
Morgan Freeman.
Oh, really?
Yeah, New
Fantastic.
York.
Did you chat to him? Or do
Yeah.
you politely
no, she
just
did,
don't
because
look?
one of her favourite films is
Shawshank.
yes,
Yeah.
Shawshank Redemption,
Redemption.
and she was just like, she gives it to everyone. She's she's one of those ones. Yeah, she did speak to him.
Brilliant.
Amazing.
Yeah, amazing. So lots of people I'd like to do a
Got a great
voiceover job
voice.
with.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so it's 5 o'clock Friday night. You've just finished a voiceover session. Where are you going to go in Soho? Or are you not? Are you going home these
Straight
days?
to
Those
Liberty's.
days
Straight to
are over.
Liberty's
Yeah.
perfume department to start with.
Generally
Yes.
go shopping. I mean, those days of calling up to see who's around, they're over.
No, it's true, isn't it? You're in town.
Pretend your youth
Then
is
meet my
here.
boy.
Yeah.
Then meet my eldest son.
And where would you go?
Oh, he'd take me to Groucho.
Nice.
Just become a member.
And Dylan's always out and
That's
about.
it, Dylan. I
is he
mean
the eldest?
Dylan.
Right. Yeah, he's always out and about.
He's always out and about.
I
I have
know.
people messaging me saying, did I just see your son? And I'm like, yep. I can answer
He's
that
living
without
the
even asking
dream.
him.
Yeah.
He's loving life.
Oh,
I
good.
know.
Good. That's
Yeah,
great.
he's doing all what I used to, you know what I mean?
I love that. So a bit of Groucho action. And Nathalie, anywhere?
I'd probably go shopping, and then maybe I could persuade my daughter to come and meet me for dinner, but she'd probably be busy. She'd probably say, no, I'm hanging out with my
Yeah.
friends.
I like getting
That's-
West End treats
Yeah.
to take home.
Yeah.
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 I mean, it has been known that I'd stick around.
And where
Yeah,
would your
me
choice?
too.
Where would you have gone in the day?
Well, it probably would have been somewhere like Groucho
Yeah.
back in
Yeah,
the day.
I love the Groucho actually.
Yeah, or it would have been the Coach and Horses on the end. Of,
Oh,
remember the
yeah,
Coach
yeah,
and Horses at the
yeah.
end of, what is it?
Poland
Compton
Street. Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah, yeah. Back in the day.
Yeah.
I found out recently that my uncle was a founder member of Groucho. I haven't seen him for 30 years. Otherwise, I mean, I now see him, but he's very old and unwell. But, you know, you're just like,
Yes.
God,
I know.
that would have been a handy way of getting in there.
It would have.
Anyway, it's all right, don't hold grudges.
No.
Anyway, finally, I was just going to ask you, have you got any advice you would like to give any new actors going into the booth for the first time? What
Well, I
would you
think
say?
you said quite a lot of great stuff. You know, don't panic, take a moment, ask for a moment if you need
Yeah,
a
if
moment.
you need a moment, ask for a moment.
Yeah.
Because
How
we
do
always
you-
think when you're new, you know,
Yeah,
it's a lot of pressure, isn't there?
especially if you go into a room and there's a
and
lot
listen.
of clients.
Take a
yeah.
breath and listen.
Yeah.
Because actually, listen to your direction. Because you can be panicky, can't you?
Yeah.
If it's a first. I remember I didn't even know the light thing going on and off at
Yeah.
first. So the light is on when you're recording.
Yes.
When it goes off, you're not.
Yes.
Um,
What about when you can hear what they're saying about you?
No,
How do you manage
no.
that?
well, only once were they not kind. It was awful.
I haven't heard that. Like,
Have you? Do they tend
They
to?
sometimes leave talk back
accidentally,
Oh, right.
by
yeah.
accident.
Yeah. I haven't
And
had
it's
that happen
always been
yet.
fine, except once I had a really bad cold. I mean,
Oh,
but
that's hard. That's
yeah, it
really
only happened
hard.
once in 26 years, so that's all right.
Yeah.
But it wasn't very pleasant.
Yeah, I don't know what
I
I'd
just
do if
cough,
I'd had to
make
say
sure they know.
something like that.
Yes.
They can hear me, I can hear you.
Yeah.
You know what I
Little
mean?
again wave to the engineer going. Hi.
But actually, it's a really, I love doing voice. I mean, I feel blessed that I do voiceovers. To me, you know, they've brought my children up,
Yeah.
and I love them.
Yeah.
I love going in and being that final bit. So it's enjoy it,
Yes.
Yeah.
take your time,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
listen, and you'll be fine.
And don't eat too much chocolate just before you go.
Don't
in the
eat
booth.
chocolate. Before,
Definitely
no,
don't do
'cause
that.
it's
Yeah.
Or nuts or anything that gets
Yeah.
stuck in the throat.
no,
Yeah.
no, nothing to get stuck in the throat. And
It's
enjoy
difficult because you
it.
go in the receptions at all these sound studios and there's all these bowls of chocolate and all the producers like tucking in and then
No,
the artists
I
are
know.
like, no.
I wait till afterwards. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that, you know, notice if there's punctuation that's missing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can say,
you
where
know,
would you like me to
where
take a
would-
breath?
Yeah,
I
it's
need
okay to
breathe.
ask.
Yeah.
And then the guy doing the words
Mixing.
gone menopause care,
The
he can also
mixing.
take breaths out.
Yeah,
just so you know, you
exactly.
can actually go and then on.
And drink
and
lots
he'll
of
cut
water.
that out and drink lots of water
Yeah,
and enjoy.
yeah. Brilliant.
And then go to Liberties.
I was going to say, what are you
Buy
going to do
perfume.
now once you've finished here? Off to Liberties.
I'm off to do a voice.
Oh, you've got
Yeah,
to do a
that's good.
voiceover session. Yeah.
I'm off to Liberties.
Yeah. I'd rather come with you. It is a skill though, doing the voiceover. I wouldn't be able to do it. It is, I mean, you know, it is hard. So you've done really well over the last few years doing it and still working it. So thank you very much.
I love it.
I love it.
I love it. Really
It's,
love
Brilliant.
it.
Do
to
you?
me, it's not hard.
Yeah.
Once
Yeah.
I get over, I can read. No,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It, you know, some people do, but most people, I love it. I feel very lucky.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Well, you're both brilliant to represent. So thank you very much for being stars.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's it for the show. Hope you liked it. And if you did, please rate and review the show wherever you get your podcasts. LVB Presents was presented by me, Steph Thompson, and produced by Mike Hanson for Pod People Productions, and recorded by Sean Dios at Jungle Studios in Soho, London. See you next time.